Sixers fans, Eagles fans, what's good? This is your boy, Tone DeShields II, and you guys are locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. If you guys are new to my content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more. And if you guys have been loyal to the soil, loyal to the channel from the very beginning, you already know what my heart is, and you know how we get down here and Chalk It Up. But as you guys can see, I'm joined by my man, my guy, Mitch Kofsky, a fellow Eagles and Sixers content creator. I believe he also covers the Phillies and other sports teams as well. So my man is just doing it on a very high level like myself, where up-and-comers were grinding from the muscle. And, you know, my man Mitch reached out to me via Twitter, and he was like, bro, like, I love your content. I want to rock out with you. You know, we got to make it happen. Like, tell me when, tell me how, like, where can we get it done? And, you know, I want to really show love to Mitch because, you know, he's doing his thing with his content as well. And I'm grateful that he reached out to me. You know, y'all know how I get down. I'm always trying to link with other content creators. I'm always trying to expand the network. And ultimately, we're all trying to get to that pinnacle. We're all constantly trying to grow, constantly trying to build our channels, constantly trying to just build, you know, that base of supporters and like-minded individuals. But my man, Mitch, I'm so grateful to you for coming on to the live stream with me, my man. We definitely got to make it happen on your channel as well. We definitely know you got some things coming up with Eagles Roundtable, so on and so forth. But Mitch Kofsky, my man, please introduce yourself to the people. Let them know what you do, how you do it, and where you do it.
All right. Hey, guys, my name is Mitch. I see a couple of you in the chat there. Eagles Uncensored. I'm going to be on his tomorrow. Like, believe me, I'm, like, all over the place. You're going to see me everywhere in the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, I've been doing YouTube for 6 years now, off and on. And I'm just a diehard Sixers, Eagles fan, you know, just living a life, doing all that, and trashing on the Knicks, because why the hell not? I'm telling you, dude, the hate I got after that video is like insane.
I can only imagine, bro, because the Knicks are the Knicks. Like, I'm not gonna. Okay, the Knicks had a comeback year. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the Knicks surprised everybody. But if you really want to go from top to bottom, the Knicks aren't really extremely talented team from top to bottom. They just play really hard. They're an effort team. They're gritty. You know, they're grimy, and they out muscle you. They outrun you. They out hustle you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we definitely got to give them respect when it comes to that. But we all know what it was really going to come down to, especially after that Game 3 loss in Atlanta. They really just didn't have it. And Julius Randle had his worst stretch of games all season. It was just insane, bro. Like, so when I saw your video laughing at him, I'm like, yo, I'm like, I know he's getting so much hate for this.
Like, it's actually kind of funny too, because my old neighbor, he's Leon Rose. Like, he used to live in my neighborhood. I graduated with his daughter. So it's like, should I still trash the team or not? Because I'm kind of friends with them. And I was like, what the hell?
I miss the Knicks.
You're Ryan, what is good? I'm telling you, I see these guys everywhere.
For sure, man. Like, these, like, you know, it's so dope to see the people just like, it's so dope when you go on other channels and you see like this, like, familiar handles, you see familiar faces and everything like that. And it's so dope, man. And you really start to realize this Philadelphia sports community is legit. I consider the Philadelphia sports community one of the best sports communities in this country. Like, we are so diehard. We are so interactive. We're so supportive of each other's content. And a lot of us are doing it. A lot of us are grinding. A lot of us are up and coming. A lot of us are doing it on a really high level. You know, I want to give a shout out to guys like, you know, Laura Brunson, Philly Take with RB, Philly Mike from the Philly Talk podcast, DJ Eastwood from Running Back Philly, Hunter Doyle from the Philly Insider podcast, Philly Notion, Philly Fresh, Castro from the Philly the podcast, Gate City Sports. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. Joey Shakes, Philly 500. You know what I'm saying? Let's Go Birds, Lindy End Zone, Eagle Slayer. It's just so many people doing content. Big Play Slay doing content. Just it's so many of us grinding at this content game, and you know, it feels good. It feels good, man. Just see everybody doing it, and my man Bashir Randall, It's just so many of us doing Nikki Steez. Like I said, man, it's just so many of us that's doing it on a really, really dope level, and it's really something. It's really something to really admire, man. Like I'm proud of you, and this is our first time really collaborating, our first time really meeting, and having a conversation, and the goal is just to always build with people and build bridges and not burn them. And again, like this is going to be a really exciting live stream, you guys. Super grateful to my man Mitch for coming on and rocking out with me. Make sure you guys hit that like button. We got 7 people on the live stream. If you guys are coming in, hit that like button. It really helps the algorithms. It really helps spike the algorithms. It really helps get the live stream everywhere that you may need it. Also, shout out to my man Moochie Robinson as well. So many other Eagles content creators as well that I didn't mention. If I forgot your name, please don't kill me. It's just so many of us doing it. And, I just want to make sure I give everybody their flowers while I can give it to them, my man. But yeah, so we have so much to talk about. Like we mentioned in the pre-production, these Sixers, these Philadelphia Eagles. But let's just start with the obvious, you know what I'm saying? Let's start with the Sixers because they just won. They just closed off the Washington Wizards in game 5 yesterday. And it was a close game pretty much up until that fourth quarter where the Sixers kind of clamped down and they forced Bradley Beal into some bad shots. I think he shot below 45% for the quarter, like below 40%. He wasn't really as efficient as he was earlier in the game. We were just stifling on defense. We had our hands in the cookie jar constantly, forcing turnovers, getting it going in the fast break. It was just really exciting to see. I'm not gonna lie, I was on the edge of my seat throughout the entire game. But once that midway through the third, going into the fourth quarter started happening, I'm like, okay, we're starting to really dominate and control the pace of this game. Just from a bird's eye view, speak on what you saw from that game 5 closeout game.
So before I want to get into that, I just want to say one more thing about the community and whatnot.
For sure.
We're just fans at the end of the day. We're just fans and spreading positivity and just rocking out with these people. I'm telling you. People are like, I remember my first fan encounter. I think it was back when I was like doing YouTube. I think it was like a couple years ago. And he was like, dude, I love your videos. I love everything about it. And I was like, really? What? I was so shocked. And I'm like, all right, dope. I couldn't take a picture. I was working.
I recorded you on the clock.
It was at a gym. I was working. And I was like, damn. I was like, yo, when I'm done, we got to get a picture. He's like, I can't. I'm like, well. Not my problem, but I was, yo, thanks for the sub. So about the game last night, I wasn't home. I was out to eat with my best friend. I was watching the game. And I was like, in the first half, correct me if I'm wrong here, hack of Ben? Were they hacking Ben Simmons in the first half?
Bro,
like, can someone please? And don't even get me started on the fans. I mean, oh my God, refs. Don't get me started on the refs. And the third quarter, Seth Curry, he scored 12 straight points. He finished with 30. I'm like, can you imagine if he does that every single game? Like, Danny Green only scored 5. Can you imagine if they both like do that and just go off? It's just insane. You got to love Seth Curry. And just the fact that Ben Simmons played the 5, I said, you got to keep this guy at the 5 because Mike Scott doesn't have it. Can we be honest here? Mike Scott does not have it at all. So Ben Simmons, he was like Magic Johnson back in the day in the finals against us. I forget what game. And he was the center. And he schooled us. So he finished with like 19-11 or 19-10, 11, 2 blocks and a steal. Like, can we get that Ben Simmons every single game? That's my thing about Ben Simmons.
I feel you. It was like watching the game, you definitely there was a different air about the team compared to when Embiid went out. And because, Embiid went out pretty early in game 4. So you really saw that team for the most part without him versus with him. And the difference in them today, in game 5 versus game 4, night and day, because you can tell in game 4, it was like a gut punch and it took them a while to get to catch their breath. And they sort of ran themselves, they dribbled themselves out of the game. In game 4, you saw blatant forms of over dribbling and guys overthinking and guys being hesitant and indecisive, and we sort of got a handle on the game a little too late, and by that point the Washington Wizards were already in a rhythm, and it seemed like we were playing catch up to their pace rather than dictating the pace. And then carrying that from game 4 to game 5, we just entered the game and we ultimately played our game. You can tell from beginning to end, we were playing our game. We were not necessarily playing to their pace. We were more so just sticking to what makes us great as a team, and that's our defense and being active and getting stops. And let's be clear, we were creating a fair share of offense. It's just that the shots weren't falling early on. If you want to be very clear, we were getting a lot of guys open. Ben Simmons was creating a lot of space, but the ball just wasn't falling at a consistent rate. Seth Curry came out scoring 9 points in the first quarter. But if you want to be completely honest, in my humble opinion, and also you guys, make sure you guys hit that like button. I'm going to keep reiterating that because it really helps the live stream. It helps the algorithms. It really helps this thing grow bigger and bigger. And we're trying to get the live chat as spicy as possible. But thinking of Seth Curry dropping 9 points in that first quarter, man, if you really want to think about the offensive pace, I got to be honest, Tyrese Maxey, he was the Energizer Bunny. He was the spark plug for this offense, because Tyrese Maxey, when he came in, immediately you saw his impact. Immediately he was pushing the pace. Immediately he was able to keep up with guys like Ish Smith, Raul Neto, Russell Westbrook, on defense. He was literally dictating the offense. He was calling out the plays. He was communicating. He was getting guys in position. He was forcing isolations and forcing mismatches. Tyrese Maxey's value to this team right now is immeasurable. He's only going to get better. That's the scary part about it. I feel like this is the perfect series for Tyrese Maxey to tune up and find out exactly what he can bring to the table. But just thinking about everybody from top to bottom, because we're going to really get into each individual guy's performance. And we're going to also get into the Joel Embiid injury. We're going to get into the Hack and Ben a little bit more. Our defense, Doc Rivers coaching, the upcoming matchup between the 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks. But you mentioned Seth Curry, 30-point performance, went 10 for 17. Came out of the first half, scoring the first 12 points. And people forget Seth Curry had to earn his minutes all his career. Went to was it Duke? Then went through the G League and got called up and then brought back down to the G League. Then finally got his shot and finally got his shot with the Sacramento Kings and transitioned to Dallas. Then went to Portland. Then went back to Dallas. My man, people forget that Seth Curry can put the ball on the floor. People forget Seth Curry can actually create his own shot. He's very capable. He was doing it in Sacramento and doing it in Dallas before Luka got there. And he was doing it. And then you really saw him starting to transition to that spot-up shooter role in Portland and then going back to Dallas once they had Luka. But people forget Seth Curry is very capable of putting the ball on the floor. His brother is Seth Curry. They do practice together in the offseason. He has to compete with that guy somehow. So, don't just because this is his role, most likely we might not see him drop 30 again unless he has to. But let's not forget he is very capable of putting the ball on the floor. Just in totality from top to bottom, what was your thoughts about his overall offensive performance?
I just love him as a streaky shooter. Whenever he's on, you can just see the basket getting bigger and bigger whenever he got the ball, and it's automatically bucket. So last night, we definitely needed his 30. Now, if he scored 15, would we have won? Yes, we still would have won, obviously. But it's very important when Joel Embiid is out. You need everybody to push. You need even Shake Milton, even though I don't know what he's doing. My shot, I don't know what he's doing.
We're going to talk about that, too. We're going to talk about the whole Tyrese Maxey, Shake Milton. We're going to talk about that, too, but you go on.
Okay. So we just need, every little bit. Joel Embiid does have a big load, yes, but people are forgetting this team can ball. Most of the people who are not Philly fans like you and I, they're like, oh, they only have Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons who can't shoot. We can beat them easily. I'm like, think about it. Watch him tape. because the bench, like Dwight Howard, like the rebounds and everything, like is there. So importance of Seth Curry's offense, very important. Like
Sure.
people are talking about having him as a sixth man and putting George Hill in the starting lineup, but I'm like,
I don't know about that.
I was thinking that before. I was on the fence a little bit, and then I was like, no, we need that offense. We need George Hill with that second unit. We need that vet with the second unit. So, George Hill.
Yeah. I actually agree with you on that. Seth Curry, being in the start lineup, the thing is about your start lineup. Your start lineup is supposed to be your most lethal lineup. And, that combination of Ben Simmons, Seth Curry at the 2, Danny Green at the 3, Tobias Harris at the 4, Joel Embiid at the 5. That's your most lethal offensive lineup. And, George Hill coming with that second unit and also maybe being a rotational piece for the 1 and the 2 positions is very good because, he's a veteran. You don't want, he's in his mid-30s. He's up there in basketball years. So you don't want him, you don't want him running himself out of a game. He's definitely good in spurts, for those, because you want to maximize his effort. You don't want to have him out there too long, and then you start to see him lagging, and then you're not really getting the most out of him. Seth Curry is not really a defensive guy, so George Hill gives you that two-way effectiveness. But Tobias Harris, transition to Tobias Harris, and he had a solid game as well. 28 points, going to 9 for 17 shooting. He was extremely effective. And what makes Tobias Harris so lethal is Tobias Harris. He knows he knows how to score. He knows where to score, and he knows when to score. He knows how to get to his spots. And he knows he's at his best when he's coming off those off-ball screens, coming off the pick and roll, going baseline, in the post, forcing the mismatch, post fadeaway. He knows how to get his buckets, and he had a quiet 28, but it was a 28 that was necessary. He showed up and he was efficient. If you think about Game 4, he shot the ball 28 times. Or was it 24 times? Basically, he shot the ball pretty much 24 to 28 times. And that's not his game. He's much more effective when he's given the ball, and he's decisive. He only dribbles the ball maybe 2 to 3 times, no more than that. When he over dribbles, he dribbles himself out of the game. He dribbles himself out of. He's not as effective. He can't be your primary ball handler. That's not his game at all. But he's very good at taking advantage of mismatches, and he's very good at. He has a very, very, very dominant floater, a very dominant low post game. He's very good down there, and he has a beautiful elbow jump shot. He's actually that mirror. You saw it in that Lakers game that we that we had that game winner with Tobias and during the season.
Yeah,
that was vintage Tobias Harris. That's his shot. When you get deeper to the playoffs, you need someone who can get that mid-range pull-up. You need someone who has that mid-range game, and that's what Tobias thrives in. He was so efficient, for this first series. As a matter of fact, for the series, he averaged in 5 games, he averaged 25 points, 10 rebounds, almost 4 assists, a little over 1 steal, and less than 2 turnovers. So my thing is with Tobias, he needs to average those kind of numbers if we want to have a chance at knocking off Milwaukee or Brooklyn. I don't want to look past the Atlanta Hawks because we got to face them as well, and that's going to be a very interesting matchup. We're going to talk about that as well. But Tobias Harris, what he brings to the table, what's your thoughts on Tobias Harris's game? And how far can Tobias Harris take us? What's his ceiling? What do you think his numbers need to be in order for us to be successful in this playoff run?
Okay, so first I just want to say Tobias is an all-star. I can't believe he did not even make the all-star team. First off, in the beginning of the season, I'm going to be honest here. I thought he would not be the Tobias Harris from the Clippers with Doc Rivers. I thought because last year, him coming off, it was like he was going down. So I'm like, okay, he won't be his back. He proved me wrong. He made me eat my words. So with Doc Rivers, just knows how to use them. So the elbow jumper is I love that pull-up he does. Just pick, boom, pop, in. And it's just like, dude, when Tobias does that, no one can stop our flow. Like, when they see Tobias going, they're like, okay, he's kind of getting hot now. We got to pick him up here, but he still makes him eat the word. So, with the next series against Atlanta Hawks, it depends on Joel Embiid. Like, if Embiid is playing the first game or not. So, based off the look, he looked it in the warm-ups for Embiid. So, Tobias needs to have, like, I'd say 24, 25 up there. And Ben Simmons has to, like, put up those kinds of numbers as well. So, but with Tobias, he's that second option. And
has to be.
Yeah, he has to go off. It's common sense at this point because Ben Simmons won't shoot the dang thing. He would just be like looking at the rim. Last night he was aggressive, but Ben Simmons would look at the rim, pass it the other way. Like, I just don't get it with Simmons.
No, I agree with you. You know, Simmons, he has to see. My thing with Simmons is, and I'm glad you brought up Simmons. We have to get it through our heads that, you know, we have to understand that Simmons is never going to be a shooter. That's not his game. And I'm starting to realize that. Now, I'm not saying he won't eventually start pulling them because he's only 24 years old. He's only 24. He has so much to unlock in his game. But because he does everything else at an elite level. Everything else that you want your player to have, your star to have, he does at an elite level. He has the size, the athleticism, the ball handling ability, the court vision, the defense, the tenacity to get rebounds. He just doesn't have that pull up jump shot. He doesn't have that 15-foot jumper. You know, he is deficient at the free throw line. But he does everything else at such an elite level. You know, he can definitely make an impact. And Ben Simmons had a triple-double last night, 19 points, 11 assists, 10 rebounds. And if he can give us that at a steady dose, if he can average, I'll be honest, if he can average, and this is if Joel Embiid is not in, obviously, but I would love for him to do this regardless. If Ben Simmons can give us 20, 10, and 10 on a consistent basis, or at least 20, 28 and 8, or 20, like whatever he needs to do, you know, like he needs to be flirting with a triple-double constantly. And he just has to be aggressive. See, my thing with Simmons at this point, it's not even about shooting anymore. I just need him to be aggressive because he's not easy to guard. That's the thing. Like, even though he's not shooting, you can claim he's easy to guard, but when he's downhill, he's going downhill. He's a hard man to stop. You know, and don't let him get the mismatch. He can take advantage. My only knock on him sometimes is when you get the mismatch, take it. Take it, because what you're going to do is you're going to force the defense to collapse on you, and then that opens it up for everybody else. You saw in Game 5 where he had Ish Smith multiple times on a mismatch, and he would back him down, and they would try to collapse on him, and he would kick it out, and that's what makes everyone's better. Ben Simmons has to understand. I'm pretty sure he has to know this for being on this team for this long, playing on Doc Rivers under the season, because you know whether we want to accept it or not. We know Doc Rivers has to give us lip service, you know, in the press conferences. But I firmly believe Doc Rivers is talking to Ben Simmons behind the scenes, like, "Hey, listen, yo, we're going to have to unlock this at some point. I know what makes you great, but in order for us to really take that next step as a team, you're going to have to, you know, start to be more aggressive. Forget shooting, be aggressive. Force the defense to respect you in some capacity, and that can really take this team to the next level." Even if he's not shooting, if he's just going downhill aggressiveness, they're going to collapse on him because he can finish at the rim, you know, with either hand.
Yeah. And with the shooting, it was always there in college at LSU, high school. I've seen his tape. He was shooting. Like, it's in there for him. And I'm just like, it's there. It's there. I know shooting may not be a big part for you, but it's a big part for me. Because if he's open, you got to take that shot. You got to take that shot. I don't care if you miss. Just take it. They're baiting you. It's a bait. Like, make them eat their bait. So, just like, and apparently he's shooting with the wrong hand. Apparently. That's what I've been hearing now. But anyways, what I agree with you on the 20, 10, and 10, because it's 6 points and 15, 15. The 15, 15 is nice. Don't get me wrong. It's just a 6.
Yeah, that was
funny.
disheartening. It was very disheartening when you saw. But like you saw he wasn't. He was just he's more. When he came out of college, right?
Mm-hmm.
People was comparing him to LeBron James. People was calling him LeBron James 2.0 because of everything he brought to the table as far as the intangibles, the physical attributes, the athleticism, the court vision, the rebounding, and what he was doing at LSU from a scoring perspective. But he's closer to Magic than LeBron when it comes to his play style. Magic for his career, he didn't average 20 points for his career. I think for Magic Johnson's career, Magic, I think he averaged maybe 16 to 17 points for his career. It's so my point in saying that is, as a matter of fact, for Magic Johnson's career, he almost averaged 20. He averaged 19. He averaged 19.7 boards and 11 assists. So my thing is with Simmons, if you can put up those numbers on a regular basis, 19, 7, and 10, or however you want to put it, if you can give me double-digit points, if you can give me at almost 20 points a night with your play style, getting everybody involved and giving us that top-notch defense, he's perfect. I'm good. I'm so good because he makes everyone better around him. And, I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for that. He makes so many people better. He opens, whether people want to accept it or not, he opens the floor up. Now, imagine, like you said, if he starts shooting, he will open the floor up beyond belief. It'll be an ocean.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly my point. And you know where I'm going now. Free throws. You know exactly where I'm going. Because
Hack and Ben.
I'm telling you, that's going to keep on going. Last night, he finished, what was he, like 5 for 8 from the free throw line or something?
5 for 7, I believe. I believe he
5
was
for
5 for
7?
7.
I'll take that. I'll take that from him. Just what's going through his mind? Just practice free throws. I don't understand. But just like,
No, I get it. I get it.
And with the hack of Ben with Doc Rivers, did you hear what Doc Rivers said at the end of that press conference?
No, what he said?
He was like, analytically, it's better for him to make 1 out of 2.
Not if the other team is scoring. Like, no.
That's exactly what I said in my video. I'm like, that makes no sense.
Oh, and by the way, you were right. He was 5 for 8. 5 for 8 shot. 62% from the free throw line. But go ahead.
Okay, I'll take that. And just like, and I'm gonna ask you, if you were Doc and you see them hacking Ben like that, would you take him out and put Tyrese Maxey in?
I feel like it's as enticing as that is, because you're thinking about it like, damn, like, that's a liability at this point, right? I understand how easy it is to make that decision, but when you do that, you sacrifice something on the other end, and and it's especially in crunch time, you need him to pick up. Like, my thing is, you can't just keep subbing him out because how often are you going to have a dead ball? So it's like so you really have to be mindful about that when you think about everything else he brings to the game. And my thing is, if he keeps because he said, actually, as a matter of fact, it was noted that he was the first person in the arena shooting free throws like crazy, just getting them up. So my thing with Ben Simmons, I read that he was actually the first person in the arena, shooting free throws. That was the thing he was focusing on the entire pregame, focusing on his free throws. Then he went 5 for 8. But there was a point where he went 2 for 2. He went 2 for 2. He made him back to back. So my thing is, if he can prove that, let's say they do it twice in a row. Let's say they hack him twice in a row, right? And he has to go to the free throw line and shoot 4 free throws in total. If he can go 3 for 4, that's going to nix it in the bud. So he has to at least show that he can make them in a row to discourage them, because what the other team is doing, they're playing the law of averages. And if he's continuously going 1 for 2, 1 for 2, 1 for 2, they're going to say, well, I'll take those odds.
I'll take them too. Like, if I were them, I would definitely take them. And I was actually talking about this with a friend of mine a couple days ago. What's the difference between Shaq and Ben with the hacking thing? Shaq was the number 1 option, and he was going to score no matter what. No matter what, he's scoring. Like 15 or like 20, he's scoring. Ben Simmons, he's not scoring. So it's not a threat. So when you hack them, it's like, okay, let's see what you can do with the free throw line, bud. You're not scoring? Right. Put it up to the free throw line. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, it just pissed me off that, I ain't gonna lie, in game 4 when they did it, I was like, I didn't see it coming at the time. it happened so abruptly. I was like, wait, are they serious? And then in game 5, when Scott Brooks decided to do it in the second quarter, I was like, oh wow, desperation is at an all-time high. At an all-time high. I don't think anybody saw him doing it that early. And then once Ben made it back to back, because I think they did it twice. And that was it. The first time he went 1 for 2. Then next time he went 2 for 2. So at that point, that discouraged them from doing it for the rest of the game. And my thing is, if we're dominating, if we're pushing the pace, if we're scoring, then they're less likely to do so. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Ben Simmons just has to remain active. He can't, and I was almost afraid that he was going to allow the game to blow past him. I was afraid that he was going to be too passive, but he still maintained. He was very engaged, even though it seemed like he was just, distributing the ball. He was very engaged on defense. He was forcing guys to take uncomfortable shots, and especially in that fourth quarter, the defense did not allow Bradley Beal to really get off. He was very inefficient in that fourth quarter. So, like I mentioned prior, this game really didn't kick off for us until Tyrese Maxey got on the court. And he just gives us so much energy off the bench. And Tyrese Maxey's ability to not only run the offense, but his energy to go and get rebounds, to pick up the tough assignment on defense, to get everybody involved, and also his willingness to take on the big moment. He is fearless. His ability to shoot off the dribble, that floater, his ability to take it to the rim on big men fearlessly. He knows how to get the ball above the big man so it can drop. There's this one drive where I saw him take it on Robin Lopez, I believe it was. And he took it on Gafford. It was just like, he's fearless. He's fearless. What are your thoughts on Tyrese Maxey? Like, the dude, he's only going to get better. And, we're going to talk about the fact that he's taking Shake Milton's minutes. And I believe this wasn't the right series for Shake Milton. I believe it was a matchup problem. But he has slowly but surely overtaken Shake Milton's minutes. What are your thoughts on Tyrese Maxey?
I'm going to start off with this. I still can't believe he dropped down to us in the draft. I still can't believe it. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, there's no way. How did we steal this guy? Because I always knew he was a dog. He had Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant mentality, attack the rim or attack the basket, get those loose balls, get those rebounds, steals, do everything. And think about it. He's better than Shake. Honestly, I'm going to keep on saying that. I said he was better than Shake Milton when he got drafted. Even though I picked Shake to be my sixth man because I knew Doc Rivers wouldn't even play him.
In your opinion, what do you think, just to pick your brain a little further, what do you think he does better than Shake?
Shooting, I'll give to Shake. Defense, I'll give to Maxey.
You
think?
I'll give you that. For the fact that he's quicker. Yeah. He has better footwork to me.
And I want the chat to know, is Maxey a better defender than Shake? Better shooter? Shake?
It's debatable. It's debatable to me.
It is. For Shake, he's a streak. He's not streaky like Korkmaz, because when Korkmaz has that ball and he's on fire, he doesn't miss. Shake Milton is like that inconsistent shooter, if that makes sense. Because what was he last night? Wasn't he like 1 for? I forget how many shots he
Shake Milton last night. He was. I want to say he was. I can tell you right now.
Go for it.
Because he wasn't in the game long. He only played like 6 minutes. My man was literally. So, my man was about. I lost it, but he only put up 2 points because of free throws, and he was like 1 for 3. He was like 1 for. He really wasn't that effective.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Shake has given up because he's seen Tyrese Maxey taking over his minutes?
I say no, because post game, after the game was over, he stayed on the court and was getting shots at.
Okay.
He was with the trainers. There's actually footage out there. He was with the trainers, and he was getting shots up. He was getting corner threes up. He was getting pull up mid-range shot. He understands that he's been cold. And he understands that in order for this team to really keep going, he has to be that extra option he has to be that extra option on offense because Keelan Maxson, if Shake Milton and Tyrese Maxey are on, I think Tyrese Maxey is a better point guard. He's a better point guard than Shake Milton. I think Shake Milton is more of a 2. Mm-hmm. Keelan Maxson, a bench lineup with Tyrese Maxey at the 1, Shake Milton at the 2. With that combination, both of them being super aggressive, driving to the rim. Forcing the defense to collapse on them. Also having a vision to pass out. My thing is, man, like the whole thing. So here's my thing, man. I'm glad you. It's really interesting because, I'm gonna give it to you like this, man, and hear me out on this. So Milton is normally the first guard off the bench, right? Normally,
yes.
And he played well to close out the season, and so did Tyrese Maxey. And let's think about it like this, right? Those final 3 games of the season. Right?
Yeah.
Shake Milton averaged 14 points per game, and he had a plus-minus average of +5. Now, for Tyrese Maxey in those final 3 games of the season, he averaged 14.6 points per game, almost 15 points, and he had a plus-minus average of +34.
Jeez.
So when you think, just in those final 3 games of the season, the offense was moving at a more efficient pace, a more electric pace with Maxey on the court versus with Shake Milton on the court. So you saw the writing on the wall when it came to who was starting to dictate the pace on offense and who was starting to really lead that second unit. And then I'm going to take it a step further for you, right? Now, in the first 3 games of the Washington Wizards series, because this is when I wrote this stuff down. Not talking about game 4 and game 5. Games 1 through 3. Shake Milton has been struggling, right? He's only averaging 3 points per game in those first 3 games of the playoffs. He accumulated 7 turnovers, and he had a plus-minus average of -16 in those first 3 games. Now, Tyrese Maxey, he's averaging, for the first 3 games of the playoffs, almost 6 points per game. Only accumulated 1 turnover and had a plus-minus average of +11. Remind you, Maxey has played significantly more minutes than Shake. So think about the efficiency. It's insane when you think about it like that. And Doc Rivers spoke on it. Doc Rivers even said in the post game, I think it was post game 3. He said Maxey just matches up better with Ish Smith and Raul Neto because Ish Smith and Raul Neto, they're quicker off the dribble. Especially when the Wizards were running downhill, they're way like Ish Smith. His quickness, that first step is deadly. Because I remember we used to have Ish Smith. His first step is deadly. He has a beautiful mid-range shot. Shake Milton couldn't really keep up with that. Tyrese Maxey, on the other hand, he was able to keep up with Russell Westbrook off the dribble. He was able to keep up with Ish Smith off the dribble. You know what I'm saying? And just the fact that Shake Milton had 7 turnovers in his little bit of minutes that he's played, and Maxey had only 1 turnover in all those minutes he played, just speaks volumes on who's being more decisive, who's actually flowing better with the offense, who is a liability and who's not. Tyrese Maxey just starting to overtake him in that respect. And I don't see it getting better because I see Tyrese Maxey getting better. And, I see Shake Milton, I see him eventually getting phased back into the rotation. But Doc Rivers even said it after the game 5 victory, after we closed out the Wizards. He just said, right now there are just people, there are just guys ahead of Shake, on the depth chart. It is what it is. And, he understands that he's got to get better. He understands what's going on there. Milton, he's going to eventually get back into his rhythm. But right now, he has too many people ahead of him right now who are just outplaying him.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only one other person that's not playing. That's Mike Scott. I mean,
he cannot play. He can't play anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
I would much rather have Paul Reed on the floor than him. Because
exactly
at least with Paul Reed, he gives you size, athleticism, and energy. Mike Scott, on the other hand, I just don't know what he brings to the table. And I mean, it's no disrespect because I got a lot of respect for this man. Like he's an NBA player, been in the league for a long time. He's 32 years old. He's earned his keep. He's made a lot of money in his NBA. He has to do something right to be in the league this long. But watching him in that game, watching him in game 4, and then watching him in game 5, it was utterly abysmal. It was despicable to watch. Yeah. I would much rather have a rotation between Dwight Howard and Paul Reed. I would much rather see that.
So this goes back to a couple months ago. I was doing this live stream with another content creator by the name of Greg Melly. So we were live streaming and talking, and I brought up Mike Scott and Paul Reed. And then he goes, Paul Reed is good. He's good, right? Paul Reed is good. He's got the G League champ MVP and all that. He said he won't put Paul Reed in over Mike Scott because of the veteranship and the experience.
That's the problem. That's been the problem for the Eagles when we put veterans over just clear-cut talent. And I don't want that. And Doc Rivers clearly is showing that. I'm not going to let that be a problem because in Game 4 he let it be a problem because I think he was really shocked by the Joel Embiid going down, and at that moment he had to rely more on the experience. But he realized because he wasn't crazy. He knew damn well that Mike Scott wasn't it. He knew it. Let's just be honest. Mike Scott didn't play that many minutes at all. I think he didn't play no more than 10 minutes. No more than 10 minutes. And it was clear. It was clear. And you couldn't allow him to put this team in a bad position like he was doing. Let's just be clear. Let's just be real clear about it. Mike Scott only played 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And it took 5 minutes for Doc Rivers to realize, okay, yeah, he can't play right now. Shake Milton, he played 7 minutes. It took Shake Milton 7 minutes for Doc Rivers to realize, okay, he's just not going to be in this series right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take my chances with George Hill. I'll take my chances with Korkmaz and Paul Reed, Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard had a very great game, playing 16 minutes, going 2 for 2 from the field, and making 8 of 10 of his free throws. Big time. Like, who would have thought Dwight Howard would go 8 for 10 from the free throw line? Who would have thought?
Who knows? But Dwight Howard has really, really impressed me throughout the year. Like, I was reading this Bleacher Report article a couple of months back. I made a video on it, and it was like one piece that each team should get rid of, or whatever it was, the one team that they should get rid of. And it said that who should the Sixers sign again? And it said don't re-sign Dwight Howard. And it was like there's Robin Lopez available, other guys available that are better. That's what this article said. And I'm like, hold up. Dwight Howard's getting those boards. He's getting those loose balls. He's getting the fouls. He's doing
the blocks.
He's a fine. Exactly.
He's an irritant. If you notice that, he has an ability to wreak havoc in some capacity. He gets under the opposing big man's skin because he's such an irritant, and he knows how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dwight Howard is good. You proved me wrong. I'll definitely re-sign him next year. 1 year deal. I'll re-sign him and Danny Green.
Yeah. See, and the thing is though, I'm not sure if Danny Green will be here. Because I think they're banking on Matisse Thybulle taking that next step, and because Matisse Thybulle was an elite defender, a better defender than Danny Green right now, but Danny Green hasn't been shooting. Matisse Thybulle showing he can knock the three ball down, but not as consistent as Danny Green. And Danny Green didn't have a good night scoring, but he had a very good day defensively. Getting inside of Russell Westbrook's head and forcing him to make dumb turnovers and things of that nature, but. I don't know if they're going to resign Danny Green because of age and also the fact that I think they're expecting Matisse Thybulle to take that next step.
And about Thybulle, he's eligible for the defensive second all team defensive. He can make
if he doesn't get it, I don't understand how. Like his ability. My man had what game was? What was that, game 2 or game 3? My man had 5 blocks and 4 steals, or was it 4 blocks and 5 steals? I can't remember.
Something like that. I forget, but who cares?
He was the only player in NBA history to ever do that in any game, playoff or regular season, to ever do that in 20 minutes or less. He did it in like 19 minutes. It was crazy.
Wow.
It was insane.
It was insane, yeah.
For sure. Let's transition to talk about Joel Embiid right now. So it was diagnosed as a small lateral meniscus tear. And I've been doing my due diligence, trying to hear different doctors' takes on everything and, see how they feel about, how bad is it and so on and so forth. And they were saying like he can definitely play on it. He can
Oh yeah.
definitely play. He can definitely play on it. The thing is, you want to try to keep you want to try to keep the swelling down. That's the thing. You want to try to keep the swelling down, and you want to, and you also want to try to, limit, because the thing about the meniscus, it's considered a shock absorber. You know what I'm saying? And it's only a small tear, thank God, and it's lateral. If it was medial, it'd be worse. But it's the fact that it's lateral, he'll be okay. He just needs to stay off it for a little bit, rest it. And the fact that we saw him pregame getting shots up, doing little drills, it was a good thing for us to see. I'm not sure, based off how this team played in Game 5 without him, I wouldn't be surprised if they sit him for Game 1 for the Hawks series and then bring him back Game 2. And we're able to keep up the efficiency on offense, because it was a total team effort in Game 5. Everybody was doing their job. Everybody was high energy. Everybody just stuck to the game plan and didn't get outside themselves. If we're able to maintain the pace and still put up points and be very effective, I wouldn't be surprised if they let him sit, games 1 and 2, for that Hawks series and bring him back Game 3 on the road. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised.
I would not be either. And I'm just thinking about George Hill. Actually, he just came to mind. The importance of George Hill for that bench is so crucial. His half-court offense, his defense, his experience, his knowledge to the game. Like, you would never thought that George Hill would be like the like the life savior of the bench. Because we need someone
underrated pickup. It's gonna pay dividends in the long run. It's a underrated pickup because he has an ability to keep the defense going. He's a two-way guy. He can play defense and he can actually shoot a three. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he can get to the rim. It's an underrated pickup. And also, you guys, make sure you guys hit that like button. It will really, really, really be a big help for myself and Mitch for us to get this live stream going. Also, if you guys want to subscribe to my man Mitch Kofsky, the links are available down below in the description to his YouTube channel. Please subscribe to my man Mitch, man. We are grinding, we are up and comers, and we are trying to grow beyond belief, and we can't do it without you guys, man. So make sure you guys subscribe to my man Mitch Kofsky. The links are available down below in the description. Also, if you guys want to lock in on the Chalk It Up merch shop as well, if you guys want to lock in on my merch, the links are available also down below in the description. I'll be so grateful for that, man. Truly grateful. A lot of people have already locked in on it, man. It's so dope to see the support. But yeah, Mitch, it's really going to be interesting to see how this team fares without Joel Embiid, and also it's going to be interesting to see how long we can survive without him. But my thing is, I personally believe we can actually still cause fits for the Atlanta Hawks without Joel Embiid, just because we cause so much matchup problems.
Yeah, exactly. And that all starts with Ben Simmons at the 5. You got to put him at the 5 again and start Thibault and have. Do you think Thibault can guard Trae Young?
I think he can make him a little uncomfortable. Okay. Because here's the thing. People are basing – now, I'm going to give Trae Young his flowers. He was balling against the Knicks. He was balling. But the Knicks don't have anyone defensively on the level of the Sixers in any capacity. The Knicks don't have a Matisse Thybulle level defender. The Knicks don't have a Ben Simmons level defender. The Knicks don't have a Danny Green level defender. You know what I'm saying? The Knicks don't have a Dwight Howard level defender. The Knicks don't have a George Hill level. They just don't. So when you think about all those guys we have defensively, we can throw so many different bodies at Trae Young, right? And I believe Matisse Thybulle can get his hands in the cookie jar. I also believe Danny Green can get his hand in the cookie jar as well. I even believe Tyrese Maxey can stay in front of him. Tyrese Maxey has quick enough feet, and that was the reason why we had him in. So don't be surprised if you see Tyrese Maxey picking up. Don't be surprised if you see him picking up Trae Young as well. But to answer your question directly, I do believe Matisse Thybulle can hang with Trae Young because of his quick feet and his long arms. So, like I said, it's going to be very interesting, man. It's going to be very interesting. It's not going to be sweet because the Atlanta Hawks go as Trae Young goes. He's the offense, and everybody else follows suit. If we can limit Trae Young's effectiveness, everybody else is going to have to pick up the slack, and I don't think they can do that for a 7-game stretch.
They can't, no. And when Embiid is playing, we don't have to worry about Trae Young. Ben Simmons on him perfectly fine. And there's actually one player I'm kind of scared, not scared, but he has me in my mind a little bit.
Let me guess before you say it. Let me guess. Is it Bogdanovich?
Yes.
I gotta admit, he's for the same reasons I was nervous about Bertans. I was actually glad that he didn't play this game. Bertans is a sniper. Bogdanovich is a sniper, but the difference between him and Bertans, Bogdanovich can actually get it off the dribble. Has a nice step back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that. And are you nervous about Collins, John Collins?
To be quite honest with you, I'm not. I'm not
either. With Clint Capella a little bit because he can get those boards.
Mm-hmm. I'm nervous about that. I do think about Clint Capella's effectiveness when it comes to getting boards. I think about it all the time. But in the same breath, I just think that if you throw a body like Dwight Howard at him, you know, he's going to make him uncomfortable. Dwight Howard can box him out. You know, the key is for Dwight Howard to make these guys uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like he's very good at that, and I'm expecting Dwight Howard to do that. You know what I'm saying? Ben Simmons very athletic. He's going to be at the 5. I expect him to be in, you know, the lap of, you know, Clint Capella as well. We're a very good rebounding team. You know what I'm saying? We're a very good defensive team. So do not be surprised, my man. Like it's going to be a very competitive series. Don't get it twisted. But I don't see the series going beyond six games, and you know, in our favor, of course.
Yeah, of course. I want the Sixers to win in 5. I want 5.
I want that to happen. I want it to be 5.
I wanted to be 5 because of the health, because of Joel Embiid, and the traveling. Well, not the actual travel world. I mean, traveling to like Atlanta or whatever, because that can hurt a team. You don't know. That can hurt a team. If you go off the plane, injure your leg off the plane, who knows? Like, that can happen.
Right. And it's going to be important for us not to get in foul trouble. It's going to be really important because foul trouble is a problem in Game 4. That was the first time. That was Ben Simmons got in foul trouble. See, it was a perfect storm for us to lose because Joel Embiid went down. Ben Simmons was in foul trouble, so neither of them were on the floor that much. It was just a recipe for disaster. I feel like Tyrese Maxey.
We actually almost won that.
And I feel like we would have if Tyrese Maxey would have had more minutes because he was. I feel like Doc went away from what was working, because. And also that Hackabin got to us. That Hackabin messed us up big time. Because I feel like we win that game if they don't do that and if Tyrese Maxey plays more minutes. I like the lineup with I like the fourth quarter lineup. I like the final 5-minute lineup with Ben Simmons, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, and what was it? It's Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons. I like that lineup without Embiid because Tyrese Maxey is another ball handler who can run the offense, who can get guys in position. Ben Simmons is able to play off the ball. He can move around, set off ball screens, drive to the basket, get the get the oops, get the backdoor layups on the baseline. Having Tyrese Maxey on the floor with Ben Simmons and Danny Green and Seth Curry and Tobias Harris, it really takes a lot of pressure off Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, and Danny Green to be ball handlers, and it allows them to just focus strictly on scoring.
Now, could you put George Hill in Tyrese Maxey's spot? Would you be fine with that?
Would I be fine with putting – so pretty much what you're saying is would I be fine with having a lineup with George Hill, Ben Simmons, pretty much replacing Tyrese Maxey?
Yeah.
See, my thing is it's all about – see, George Hill is a better defender, obviously.
Yes.
So, but I feel like Tyrese Maxey is quicker. He can get to the rim quicker. So it's tough, down the stretch. It depends on matchups, honestly. It depends on matchups, and if Tyrese Maxey is hot, he's getting the offense going. Why go away from him?
Who knows? But I mean, it can't hurt for the experience with George Hill in the playoffs. So,
oh yeah. As you get deeper, the experience is going to matter. You know, George, don't be surprised. George Hill is going to definitely have a lot of minutes in that. You know, Laura Willen will make it to that Eastern Conference Finals. He's going to have a lot of minutes. Trust and believe.
Oh yeah.
Trust and believe.
Yo,
But yeah, man.
That, bro. Appreciate
for
that.
sure, for sure. Shout out to Jinx, man. Very loyal subscriber, man. Shout out to everybody in the live chat, man. You know, we really appreciate you guys. We got 12 people in here. Make sure you guys hit that like button. We are so grateful for you guys rocking out for us for as long as you guys have. You know, you guys make this engine run, man. You guys make this engine run. But you know, my final thoughts on the Sixers. Let's touch on, the Doc Rivers coaching so far. Let's be completely honest. If Brett Brown was our coach, we don't win the series. Just because Brett Brown's inability to manage rotations, Brett Brown's inability to understand momentum, and his inability to make adjustments. It's just he was always a liability just from a coaching perspective. If Doc Rivers' ability to just manage the rotations, especially in Game 5, you know, he just knew he was smart enough to understand what was working. I'm so glad he didn't go away from Tyrese Maxey. He knew that Tyrese Maxey was he was it. And he said, okay, Tyrese Maxey, you're gonna be you playing on the court with Simmons. That's what we're going with. You know, we're gonna have that. And you know, Doc Rivers his ability to understand the player as a former player. You know, his ability to just understand who has the hot hand. You know, and he said, you know, they were up all night, you know, going back and forth between lineups. You know, he said they changed to start lineups so many times, and then he finally landed on, you know, Matisse Thybulle. And granted, Matisse Thybulle, he only played 16 minutes. Maxey outplayed him in minutes, but Matisse Thybulle starting the game, you know, accumulating a steal, you know, having a plus minus a plus one, having 7 points. You know, he was effective on offense, 3 for 5, 1 for 3 from the 3-point line. But you saw the pace that Maxey was able to lead us with, and Doc Rivers understood that, and he didn't allow Matisse Thybulle's experience or defensive prowess to put him over Tyrese Maxey when it mattered, because he understood that with Tyrese Maxey on the floor, you can hide his defensive deficiencies by having Ben Simmons on the floor, by having Danny Green on the floor. You know what I'm saying? And Tobias Harris doesn't get enough credit as a defender as well. Tobias Harris is like 6'8", 6'9", so he needs his respect as well on defense. So, you know, it's really important to understand that Doc Rivers, he understands. I actually feel like because this team has smaller personalities than that Clippers team, I feel like he's a better suited coach for this team than that Clippers team. And you know, a lot of people gave him gripes for how that Clippers team finished last season, but you can clearly see that it's not his fault. That Clippers team is erratic. That Clippers team has too much ego involved. That Clippers team just doesn't seem like they have a level of desire, a level of grit, a level of eagerness to play defense like this Sixers team does. This Sixers team they're eager to play defense, and that's what makes the Sixers team so great. And Doc Rivers is able to bring the best out of this team. This team became one of the best defensive teams. I mean, granted, we were one of the best defensive teams under Brett Brown, but I feel like he took us to another level. You can literally see on the floor these guys, everyone, like our team defense is immaculate. No one can drive without having at least 2 guys on them, getting in their way. You know, in games 1 and 2, you saw that our weakness was transition defense. And then we picked it up as game 3, game 4, game 5 went on. We picked it up tremendously, and we were able to stop them, limit them in transition. And we actually outscored them in the fast break in game 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did. So for me, for Doc Rivers and the coaching so far, I'm just talking about the Washington Wizards series, right? Is that all we're talking about, the whole season?
The Washington Wizards series, just in general, really, but mainly the series, though, because this is what this is when it matters. So I guess you can focus on the series.
Okay. So for the series, for me, if I'm giving a letter grade, I just like giving letter grades because for me it's like a justified thing. So I had to give it a B because just the whole Hack and Ben thing and that whole situation, and not having Ben Simmons. I mean, I guess the foul trouble was there because the refs are so goddamn awful. So you have that, and ability to put Mike Scott in. I mean, why did we sign Anthony Tolliver if he's not going to play?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I made a reaction video to that, like, as soon as it dropped, and I was laughing because he's not going to play. And I was like, boom, I'm right. And he's already better than Mike Scott when he stepped on the bench. When he's on the bench, he's better than Mike Scott. So,
Exactly.
Based off that, I have to give it a B. Based off Mike Scott and the Hacker Ben thing.
I understand. And you know what? I completely understand that. You know, I probably won't give him too much gripe about the Hagerman thing because Ben Simmons got to make his free throws. He has to make them. Period.
Yep.
And we understand that's not his strong suit, but he has to make them. You know, you're about 4 or 5 years in the league. You have to get better at that, and he has improved slowly, but he has improved. But he has to get better. He has to make them. He can't shy away for the moment. And so I don't want to put that too much on him because I understand that you can't just take Ben Simmons off the floor. That's also a demoralizer as well. That can mess him up here. And that's the last thing we want to do. And as far as the Mike Scott thing, yeah, that was a detriment in Game 4. So I'll probably give him a B+.
Say this one thing before we go into the Eagles. This last thing because I see the comments here about Boston and their new head coach. You know who's the perfect head coach for them? Come on.
Wait. Boston has a new head coach already?
They're going to get a new coach.
Okay, yeah, because I know Brad Stevens stepped up and Danny Ainge stepped away.
Yeah. So who do you think will be that coach? Because I got one in mind.
Don't be surprised if it's Jason Kidd.
Brett Brown. I think want Brett Brown.
Get the hell out of here.
I'm telling you, I want Brett Brown there to see the Celtics even fall down. That's just me.
Yo, if they get Brett Brown, that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
You think that Nick's video was funny? Just wait. I'm telling you. That
would be hilarious. And, you know, I don't want to take nothing away from Brett. I know we get on him, but he had to deal with the tanking era, and he did get us into the fight. He was able to get us into the whatchamacallit. What was that? He brought us in the playoffs many a times, but I feel like the roster was talented enough to do that anyway. Yeah. He just his in-game coaching, like his coaching when it matters most, sucks. So that's my thing, man. That's my thing about Brett Brown. Like, you know, he had to stick it out with that tanking era, and you know, they had to give him a chance, but you know, my man just doesn't have it, man. He just doesn't have it. That's not his thing, man, at all, man. But you know, now that we've talked about these Sixers, man, let's transition into some Eagles talk because the Philadelphia Eagles, we're in the off season right now. And, you know, there have been press conferences going on. You know, there's going to be competition on the O-line, especially at left tackle. There's going to be competition in that running back room, you know, for guys who are going to fight for that second and third running back spot. Competition in the wide receiver room, you know, when it comes to that 3, 4, and 5 wide receiver spot. You know, even on defense, you know, just so far, what's your grand scheme view right now of the offseason, the moves we made of the Philadelphia Eagles?
All right. So I made a video a couple weeks ago about Howie Roseman and his grade I would give him just up to that point with all the moves and stuff. And I gave him a B because just like Devontae Smith, do I have to talk? Like, that's just like a finesse in itself. The fact that he got paid the much as he did, like, really shows faith in Devontae Smith. Landon Dickerson, you know what he can do bring to the table. You got Milton Jackson. You got
Milton Williams.
Yeah, and there's actually two things that's bothering me about Howie Roseman, and I'm going to tell you that right now. Zach Ertz in that whole situation, because I felt like we should have traded him at the highest peak now, but back then I was like, no, it's not him to be like give him an extension. There we go, and then now we're stuck here. And
well, they offered it to him. They offered him 2 of them, and he turned them down. In all fairness.
But it's just like, yeah. And then the cornerback too. That is bugging me. Now, I know the next year's draft class is stacked with corners. I know that. And we have 10 picks again, I think. 3 in the first round? Something like that.
I believe so. We tied for the most picks in the next draft. Yep.
Yeah, and I actually asked this on my round table a couple days ago. Would you want to get a cornerback right now, like a Steven Nelson or the guy from the Jets, or would you want to wait and just go in the draft? Because I feel like we need a trust corner, and I don't trust anyone in the second corner spot right now. Zach McPherson, too young. Josiah Scott, risk.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. If I'm you, I mean, or if I'm the GM or the Eagles or whatever, I say if we can, because the Steven Nelson market is very, very hot, and a lot of teams want his services. I'm surprised he hasn't signed anywhere yet, but nonetheless, listen, I wouldn't mind. Here's my thing: still go get Steven Nelson if you can, and still draft a corner. Still, so that because let's be real, Darius Slay, he's not getting any better. So, he's only going to decline from here. And based off of what we've heard from Jonathan Gannon and what to expect from this defensive scheme, we're definitely going to play a lot more zone. So I expect Jonathan Gannon to mask the deficiencies of a lot of these guys. I expect his defensive scheme, because he said the scheme is there's not necessarily a scheme per se. We're more so going to cater this defense to whoever we play, which is smart. That's smart. Like, you're supposed to literally cater to your talent and find out what they do best and not put them in compromising positions. And I feel like that was the problem with the previous coaching regime. We didn't care about players' deficiencies. We just told them, this is the scheme, this is the play, do it. And that's not how you coach to me. Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon, they all, Shane Steichen, they all made it clear that that's not the best way to coach. You have to mold your scheme, mold what you want to do with these guys, and you have to find out what they do well and maximize that. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way you can get the best out of your team. That's the only way you can actually mask certain deficiencies, man. And I believe that, we're in a position right now, especially with this new coaching staff, to really catch a lot of people slipping. I believe that Jonathan Gannon is going to prepare a defensive scheme per se to keep these guys from being a liability and making too many mistakes. You know what I'm saying? These guys are going to keep everything in front of them instead of turning their back on the quarterback.
Yeah. For me, for the cornerback, who's our second corner now?
Second, I feel like that's still a debate. If you want to just go by, if you just want to go by experience and who's been there, our second corner is probably Avonte Maddox, but I feel like he's going to be in the slot this year. And I feel like right now we're going to have guys compete for that second corner spot. Or if we go get somebody in free agency, maybe Steven Nelson, who knows? There's still some time left, but I don't know who it's going to be necessarily. But if you were to just go by experience and who's been here, Darius Slay is one, Avonte Maddox is two. Then you got guys like Jaquette, and you also have guys like Kevon Seymour, who's more so a nickel. You got Lavert Hill, Graylin Arnold. It's just
don't forget about Nate Meters.
Nate Meters. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's no definitive cornerback too. That's why it's the biggest question mark. The nickel was more so easier to figure out. Yeah. Because we have a bunch of nickels. Like, that's the thing on this defense. We got a bunch of nickels, but we ain't got enough dimes. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we ain't got enough guys who can play the boundary like Darius Slay. So we'll find out. And also, even with Seth McPherson, he has experience playing outside and inside. So who knows because Darius Slay said, my goal is to get these guys right, get these guys ready. So I expect Darius Slay to get these guys in position to be great. And also, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, Jonathan Gannon's scheme, we're going to play a lot of cover two, a lot of zone. So I expect Jonathan Gannon to play, have these guys in positions to make plays. Especially thinking about his hits theory, his hits mantra, or whatever you want to call it. Hustle, intensity, takeaways, and I forget what the S stands for, but I have high. It's important to not get too high, not get too low with this Eagles team right now because we have a lot of unanswered questions. We have a lot of unknowns. But it's really exciting to see this team starting to really fall in love, follow suit with this new coaching staff, and also to really take in what they're saying. And I think it's also great that this coaching staff is really paying attention and making it known that we're here for you guys. We're not here to put you guys in bad situations. We're here to understand you guys, and we want to know what you guys are comfortable with. You know, Nick Sirianni said the first few days, we're not trying to drill these guys with plays. We want to find out what they can do. We want to let these guys just go out and run, go out and make plays. Let's see what you guys can do. And then we're going to determine, okay, we're going to, drill in some plays and, or installs, as you would call it. Also the fact that this whole offseason schedule was designed by Nick Sirianni and the veterans. He reached out to these guys personally and said, hey, I want you guys to tell me what you think needs to happen. How can we make this a hand glove fit for both parties? We want to make sure we respect you guys, let you guys know that we're here for you, not against you. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing from the coaching staff. Everyone is saying in every press conference, you're actually seeing the guys adopting the energy. They're adopting the language of these coaches. You know what I'm saying? It's really good to see. Now we're going to have some growing pains because it's a new staff, nonetheless. But it's really good to see this team, welcoming and ingratiating themselves with the staff.
I just gotta say this right now. Did Nick Sirianni challenge the veterans to rock, paper, scissors? I gotta ask.
I don't think so, but my thing is, I feel like a lot of people blew that out of proportion. I feel like he was just trying to, just give you guys a figurative example of this how competitive I'm trying to find out these guys are. I feel like people just ran with it because it was funny at the time. But I feel like he was just being a little facetious, hey, this is how serious I am about competitive. I'm even challenging these guys to rock, paper, scissors. I want to see how competitive they are. I feel like a lot of people kind of just ran with that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I don't doubt Nick Sirianni's commitment to this game. You're even seeing, these guys. I feel like what was lacking with this previous coaching staff was the fact that we started to deviate from fundamentals and technique. You start our route running wasn't as crisp. You know what I'm saying? We were dropping balls. Guys just weren't disciplined in their coverages. Guys weren't disciplined with their alignments. You know what I'm saying? Their assignments. There was just a lack of discipline. Even when, and I'm not sure if you remember this is around the time COVID first kicked off, they were live streaming the practices. And there was too much lollygagging to me. Too many guys just posing in the camera, trying to look cool with the jerk. Nah, man. There was zero focus, and too many guys was playing around. I really like that Nick Sirianni is intense. The guys are saying it. He's about football. He loves it. And you see he's very intense. He's fiery. And I like the fact that these guys are seeing that. Same thing with Jonathan Gannon. He's fiery. You know what I'm saying? You can watching the press conferences with Jonathan Gannon, Nick Sirianni, Shane Steichen, you can tell they're very detail oriented. Very detail oriented.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I just want to bring up the wide receivers because that it's just packed, man. There's so many ways you can go. So many. You can put any one in the slot. I know they put Rager there, and I'm just telling you right now, I don't know who they're going to cut in the wide receiver room or the running back. There's so many players that they can cut. And who would you want to be gone? For me, the surprise cut, who would I be shocked with if the Eagles cut? That'd be Greg Ward if he gets cut. Because he will be a great third down guy. We've seen that time and time again. And for me, that would be my surprise cut in the wide receiver room. So for me, I would have to cut probably CM Stark, probably Hightower. No, Whiteside. Just give me Whiteside.
Yeah, get rid of Whiteside. Get rid of Whiteside. Get rid of it's going to be very competitive for a fact. Because let's just think about the wide receivers, right? Yeah. Let's just think for a second. You have obviously Devontae Smith is the one. Jalen Rager is going to be in the slot. Now, when it comes to the other outside wide receiver. Now, I'm a huge fan of Travis Fulgham. I'm a huge fan of Travis Fulgham. I have his jersey. I feel like Fulgham is going to, go off. But Travis Fulgham. So outside of Devontae Smith and Jalen Rager, because they're first round picks, you have to see those guys pan out, obviously. Outside of those guys, you have Travis Fulgham, Quez Watkins, John Hightower, Greg Ward, Gilmore, Khalil Tate, Jamon Osborne, and J.J. Whiteside. That's like 8 guys right there alone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like Whiteside is going to get cut. I feel like or at least jump to the practice squad. I don't see Jamal Osborne making the roster. I don't see.
Did you say Grimes?
Yeah, I said Grimes. Yep, I said Grimes. And
Okay.
now I feel like Grimes is a wild card. He's interesting because
He
I feel
is.
like he has potential to actually beat out Travis Fulgham.
Oh yeah.
He has a very high ceiling to me because I saw his tape against Bama when he had to match up with Patrick Surtain, and he was putting him on a silver platter. So, you know, we have a lot of potential in his wide receiver room. Quez Watkins, we saw what he was able to do with the limited amount of snaps last season. It's really exciting to see, but, you know, I want to answer Tyler Walker's Devon's question real quick. He says, would you trade Ertz for Julio or Gilmore? I personally prefer Gilmore. What's your thoughts on that question?
Well, for Gilmore, I guess, I mean, that's like a tough one for me. For me, that's a tough one. I mean, Jordan Hicks is also a possibility here. Like, the Cardinals are willing to give him up. Well, they're giving him, like, the rights to look for a trade or whatever. I would trade for, I forget his name, Jordan Hicks.
Right.
Like, that's a possibility. I know he's injury prone. Our linebackers could use some vet a little bit.
In all fairness, to Jordan Hicks, he's been healthy the past 2 seasons with the Cardinals. He's been healthy. So, which see, that begs the question, right? What was this previous staff doing in terms of conditioning and, you know, making sure these guys are ready? Like, it makes you question, like, were we overworking guys, or were we just not conditioning these guys properly for football level activity? Like, you know, I don't understand. Was Doug Peterson giving them too much ice cream? Like, I don't know. It really makes. And here's the thing, right? This time last season, how many injuries were we hearing about? So many, right?
There was a lot.
We haven't heard not one so far. Not one.
Yeah.
And, you know, in this current coaching staff, we haven't heard not one. And knock on wood, you know, but we haven't heard anything about injuries. Whereas the last season and season before, we heard a handful of injuries by this time.
We did. You're right. And it's just Zach Ertz. It's just like I said this time and time again. I'll take him for anything because he doesn't want to be here. I'll take him for a package of water bottles, bag of Doritos, or Fortnite V-Bucks. I'll take him for one of those 3 because why keep him on a team if he doesn't want to be here? It's like it will destroy the vibe, it will destroy the chemistry, and it might destroy them on the field. Like, Zach Ertz was a big part last season. He got injured. I mean, the year before. He was a big part. And seeing him like, oh, I don't want to be here. Get me out of here. Cut me. Do whatever. It might talk some other players and be like, you know what? He's right. I don't like how he wrote me. I don't like how he treated me. I want out. I know you drafted me, but Dickerson, I don't like where I'm at. I'm gone. But I'm just saying, any one word can get in the right ear. Like, I want out.
No, I'm with you on that. I firmly believe Zach Ertz needs to go yesterday. You know, he needs to go. And I want to give him his flowers because I have so much respect for Zach Ertz. I have so much respect for what he brought to the table, what he gave us, you know, during his time here, man. Like, you know, he's just given us so much of his he became a man here. He became a man here.
Oh, he did.
And you know, I want to give him his flowers. Game winning, game clinching touchdown Super Bowl. You know, broke the record for tight end receptions. He's the best tight end in the Eagles history by far. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that we can't afford to have a distraction in this locker room anymore. We've gotten rid of all of them so far. We got rid of all of them. He's the remaining. And I refuse to allow this man to come in and allow his contract situation to bleed over into this team. Now, they offered you 2 contracts. You didn't take not near one of them. He wants George Kittle level money. He wants Austin Hooper level money. He wants Travis Kelce level money. Last time I checked, those guys get racked. I don't know about you.
In the beginning, he was getting Iraq 2 years ago. He was eligible for that.
You know, my thing is like he doesn't get yards after the catch. Like, you know, he catches the ball and he falls. Or, you know, and you know, people make an argument that his route running wasn't as tight last season. You know, I feel like he was dealing with injuries. He was dealing with injuries and he wasn't really, the timing was off him and Carson, whatever you want to put it. But a lot of people feel like he lost a step. But his route running is still impeccable. Hands are still like glue. He sucks at blocking. But you know, my thing is like he just has to. We got to move on from him in some capacity. I don't at this point trade him for a 7th rounder. I don't trade him for 2 7s. Trade him for I don't know a 5th and a 7th. Like I don't know, but you have to move on from this guy because it's a new era, it's a new wave, and you know we have to embrace it. And I just can't. And my thing is he can't be in front of Dallas Goddard this year. We need to find out just how good Dallas Goddard can be with tight end 1 snaps. And Dallas Goddard's on a contract year. We need to decide if we're going to give him big money or you know give him an extension or not. And you know we can't really find out Dallas Goddard's ceiling with Zach Ertz being in the building.
I know, yeah. And just this whole thing with Goddard, I don't want it to be like the same thing with Zach Ertz because I don't want him to play like ball out and then get injured and then go down the same route. I don't want that. I just want the guy to play well, play really well. And could he be a Pro Bowler? Probably not. I don't think so. Maybe next year.
It's interesting. I'm not even sure. Richie MC says, would you trade Ertz for Madden 22?
The last time I played Madden was in Madden 2011.
Oh, that's hilarious. You know, I'll admit, like, I don't buy Madden every year because like it's some years like it's better than others, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, you know, like, oh wow, really? I had no idea. Is this for real?
I forgot about that.
I had no idea. That's crazy.
I'll look it up just in case. So,
yeah, it says he underwent a knee procedure. What it means for the depth chart. It says the Eagles wide receiver depth chart is a little light during the offseason program. Undrafted wideout Trevon Grimes recently underwent a knee procedure. It says Grimes' injury is not believed to be serious in nature. The person said Grimes was wow, that's crazy, man. That definitely affects him making this roster. But we'll see who knows if it was a very invasive surgery. We really don't know. But ultimately, you know, we will see what happens with that. But you know, I'm really excited about this team. I'm excited for football in general.
Oh my God, me too.
Big time, bro. Big time. So we mentioned Dallas Goddard and you know his contract talks. You know, he's acknowledged the fact that, you know, he's in a contract year. He's acknowledged the he's acknowledged a lot. But my thing is, you know, do you think what's your ceiling for Dallas Goddard? What do you think?
For this coming season?
Yes. Like, what's your expectation for Dallas Goddard this coming season?
Well, Nick Sirianni's a tight end guy, right? He's got to be up there. Like,
and a wide receiver guy. You know, he played wide receiver, but you know he loves using tight ends as well.
Yeah. So for me, I see him getting, I'd say like 10 touchdowns for Goddard and maybe like 700 yards. Like I see, God, I forget his name. Devontae Smith. I see him getting 1,000. I see Rager getting 800. I don't know about Fulgham yet. And then you got Goddard. I say 700 or 8. Like
I think that's decent when you think about the other miles you have to feed on offense. Because like I'm already on record saying Devontae Smith is going for a stack. He's going for 1,000. I'm already on record. Like, and I'm not taking it back. You know, Jalen Hurts is going to feed him. Trust and believe he's going to feed him. You know, but they asked him about Zach Ertz. They asked Dallas Goddard about Zach Ertz's situation, and he said, you know, like, that's my guy, man. And, you know, I'm not going to speak on that. That's not my place. And I understand, you know, I'm not even want to speak on the guy's money. You know, like it's certain situations where you got to just, you know, let the chips fall where they may. And, you know, Dallas Goddard says that, you know, he understands what's going on, but ultimately it changes nothing for him. And I like what I'm hearing. It changes nothing about preparation. It changes nothing about how you approach the season. It changes nothing for him. And I love that about him. I love it.
So do I. I love everything about Dallas Goddard. The fact that we stole him in front of Dallas and David Akers did that, that's my favorite part.
Classic moment. That was a beautiful moment, man. But let's talk about this O-line, man. The competition is heating up between Jordan Mailata and Andre Dillard, and they both know it. What needs to be noted though is Mailata is no stranger from the smoke. And what I mean by that is his journey needs to be noted. He had to grind from the muscle. He had to learn this sport. You know what I'm saying? He had to really fight for every snap possible. And he credits Jeff Stoutland with it. He credits Jeff Stoutland with it. He acknowledges the Dillard rivalry, and he admits that, he needs Jeff Stoutland to continue developing. He admits that. So, what's your thoughts about the Jordan Mailata, Andre Dillard situation? Because Dillard he's here for it. He acknowledges it. Dillard says he's stronger than before. He's not backing down from the challenge. They got much respect for each other, but they know they're going to bring their best out of each other. Iron sharpens iron. Mailata says hard work takes care of hard work. Both these guys have been really locking in the offseason, so they say. So what's your thoughts on the competition between Jordan Mailata and Andre Dillard?
My thoughts are they're both in it. They both got the head game. They both want that starting spot. But when it comes to me, it's the health issues again with Andre Dillard. Like, the injuries are such a big part of this rebuild, and I feel like you got to go with Mailata, even though he's played there for a short amount of time and he has the rugby experience. Like, just for that, and he can tackle everybody. So, isn't Mailata bigger?
Way bigger. You can see it in the press conference. He's way bigger. Way bigger. It's a click. He's taller. He has more weight, but it's distributed better. Like, Dillard's in shape. Don't get it twisted, but Mailata is just a mountain of a man.
He is, and I believe he's younger too. Correct?
I believe they're maybe around the same age. I can find it out for you right now, though.
All right, because if he's younger and he's bigger, and I've been doing YouTube. And people have been DMing me like their Eagles takes or whatever. People are telling me that Jordan Mailata is good enough to make a Pro Bowl this year. And that's
okay. That's a hot take.
Hot take. Like, I've been getting that time and time and time again. So if you have him going to a Pro Bowl, you got to go with him. I mean, you got to go.
That's a hot take. But to answer your question earlier, Andre Dillard's 25, Mailata's 24.
Oh. So around the same age, so it doesn't. Then Dillard has the experience, like he played football longer.
Now this. So let's hear me out on this real quick before you go. Andre Dillard is 25 years old. 25 years old, right?
Yeah.
And he weighs 315 pounds. Now Jordan Mailata, the dude is 6'8". 346 pounds. Who do you want protecting you?
The bigger guy, obviously.
So it's like, geez, man. Now, obviously, Dillard probably is more technically sound, obviously, because he's been playing the position longer, playing the game longer. But the upside of Jordan Mailata, how can you deny that?
It's just again with the competition. I love the competition, I do, but I don't want the wrong guy to be beaten out. Like, let's say, for example, Jordan Mailata beats out Dillard, and then he just falls right down. Then you put Andre Dillard in. Then I'm like, was that all that worth it? Like, all that competition?
I feel you, man. But sometimes competition brings up the best out of people, man. That's just the obvious, man. Like, competition really he makes it like it. If no one's coming for your spot, you get comfortable and you slack off. And I think Andre Dillard knows what it is. He knows that he has to come to play this year. He has to. And the best guy is going to be on the field no matter what. And Jordan Mailata even said it. He says, "Listen, I'm not worried about starting. I'm not worried about none of that. I'm worried about the best guy being on the field. If I'm the sixth offensive lineman in the rotation, and I come in when they need me to come in, I want to win the championship. I want to win, and that's the kind of thing I like to hear from my old lineman. I want the best guy on the field. If it's me, cool. If it's Dillard, even better. You know what I'm saying? I have faith in both our skill sets. We got 9 people on the live stream. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It gets the live stream going. It helps people find the content. We'll be so grateful for that. We've been going for an hour and a half, me and Mitch Kofsky. Make sure you guys subscribe to my man, Mitch Kofsky. The links are available down below in the description because my man is coming in with the hot fire, and he knows what he's talking about, my man. So, the competition, I think it's a good thing. The cream will rise to the top, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to say shout out to JC Eagle Talk. I'm going to be on his channel tomorrow. So I'm on 2 channels tomorrow.
Hey, listen, grinding. Keep putting that work in, man.
Dude, I was on. And then this Saturday, I have my own podcast, Sports Chat, with my co-host Tyler. And we might have Vince Papali's son, Vinny Papali, come on. Like, I grew up with him. I know the dad. I know everybody. So.
That's big. That's big. That's big.
Hopefully it works out. I'm gonna message him right after this.
Like, definitely. Yeah, definitely secure that.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot to look forward to with this season. So we talked about Jordan Mailata. We talked about Dillard. That competition. What are your expectations for the offensive line in general? Because I firmly believe when healthy, this is a top 5 O-line, in my opinion. Like I can't think of a better. I can't think of a better right side combination with Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks, Jason Kelce in the middle. Like I can't think of a better combination. I can't think of a better combination from center to right tackle. No. Left tackle and right guard. Left tackle and left guard. Still remains to be seen, especially with Isaac Seumalo. He's a good run blocker, but pass blocker is very, very shaky. But in totality, I think this is a top 5 line.
Yeah. Now I'm glad you brought up Jason Kelce. Because I've been asking this a lot of times, like I've been DMing people and stuff. Now, let's say Jordan, a lot. No, hold on. Landon Dickerson, sorry. Let's say Landon Dickerson comes out, balls out. Do you think he can take over Kelce's spot?
I don't think they're going to do that because I don't think they would do that. Just for the simple fact that Jason Kelce, I only think he took a step down last year because of injuries. He was nursing an injury. He was a little off. I don't think they're going to do that per se. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if Landon Dickerson takes Seumalo's spot. That's what you got to look out for because it's a better combination of having Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelce, Brandon Brooks, and Lane Johnson versus having a combination of Jordan Mailata, Isaac Seumalo, Landon Dickerson, Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson. Because at the end of the day, Landon Dickerson has to learn how to play on his level. He has to learn how to play on his. At the end of the day, he may be as dominant as he was in college or whatever, but he has to get better as far as technique and protecting his body. I don't see this team throwing him. I don't see this team throwing him out to the wolves right away. I see them allowing him to sit and watch Kelce and learn from him. Because I mentioned before, it's a reason why, like, that was a future pick. That pick was for the future. And, the good thing about Landon Dickerson is he's capable of playing both guard spots and center spots. Yeah. And on top of that, I anticipate him learning from Jason Kelce because Jason Kelce has been an Iron Man in this NFL for a long time. He just started getting hurt last year, or he rarely gets hurt. Rarely misses games, and there's a reason behind that. You ever hear the notion of there's a right and wrong way to lift weights? Yes. There's a form is important when you're lifting weights, right? And when you're an old lineman, when you're pushing these guys, these D linemen, these D tackles especially, you're basically lifting weights. You know what I'm saying? You're basically, bench pressing to a certain extent. So there's a right and wrong way to do that. Landon Dickerson, I feel like he's been so strong, so dominant, so athletic his whole entire career. He's never really had to rely too much on technique. He's such a dog. He's probably never had to rely so much on technique. Whereas though Jason Kelce, he's had to rely on technique more so in his career because he's been undersized. So I feel like Landon Dickerson can actually learn a lot from Jason Kelce when it comes to technique and learn how to preserve his body. Because if Landon Dickerson becomes more technically sound, he can actually block these guys without having to use so much strength, so much brute force. You follow me?
Yeah.
So I expect Landon Dickerson to really be tied to the hip when it comes to Jason Kelce. I expect him to be tied to the hip with Brandon Brooks. You know what I'm saying? I expect him to really learn a lot from these guys, man. I'm expecting the big things from Brandon Brooks as well because his press conference, oh my God, he got me fired up. He got me fired up in his press conference. He said verbatim, he said, I tore my ACL. He said, I tore my ACL before. And I came back and I was the best. I was the best. So what makes you think I can't do it again? I love that energy. I love that fire. I love it. He should have came when he said I was the best. Nobody was checking me. So who's to say I can't do it again? I love it.
So do I. I love it too. And just like that's the whole mentality of this whole Eagle squad. That's the whole mentality of everybody. I just love that. I just love that, man. Like last year, you could tell they weren't having fun. Like, you knew there was something wrong with them with the coaching staff, the front office, Howie Roseman being controlling, and all that. And now you see these guys having fun, talking with confidence, practicing, squad. Like, they're doing it all right now, and we're just in a rebuilding year. Like, I love that.
I feel you. Now, let's talk about these linebackers. You know, the linebacker room is actually starting to shape up a little bit. Right now we got TJ Edwards, Jannard Avery, Alex Singleton, Davion Taylor, Sean Bradley, Eric Wilson, Jacoby Stevens, who's that pseudo linebacker safety, Rashad Smith, Patrick Johnson, who's like that edge, pseudo outside linebacker. But then on top of that, you got guys like Ryan Kerrigan who can play outside linebacker, who can play the edge. This linebacker room is starting to shape up, and it has a healthy dose of youth and veteran leadership. As far as guys just being able to compete and bring the best out of everybody. What are your expectations? What are your expectations for this linebacker room?
Expectations, like, I love it, man. I just want to talk about Ryan Kerrigan real quick. Because Ryan Kerrigan, he was always a thorn in our side for years. And you saw what he did to Carson Wentz. So I've always done this. I've always compared these two situations. Al Horford, you know how we took him from Boston because he was known as that Embiid stopper? And then once we took him, you know the whole story. And then now the Celtics, they didn't have a good center. Like you had Daniel Tice, Robert Williams, Tristan Thompson, right? And then for the Philadelphia Eagles, it's like you took their spot. You took the Washington Wizards. Oh my God.
Washington no names.
Yeah. Oh my God. I hate that. The football team, you take their pride and joy, their defensive stopper. Is that going to hurt them in the long run? Is that going to hurt the Washington football team? Oh my God. I still hate that. The football team's mojo defensively, is that going to hurt them? Because that hurt the Celtics. So I'm just saying here.
I don't know. Because they still, one of the reasons they got rid of them is because they're going to have to pay these young guys soon. Guys like Montez Sweat, guys like, Chase Young, and, they have a lot of talent in that front seven. So I understand why they let them go. But the good thing is, his past 2 seasons, he's been on a limited snap count. So he's been rotating in. So he doesn't have as many miles on him as people would think. And he's been very effective in his limited snaps, back-to-back seasons with 5.5 sacks. And that was because he was on limited snaps, not because he couldn't get there. He played less than 30 to 40% of defensive snaps.
Right.
And he still accumulated 5.5 sacks back-to-back seasons. So I don't see why he can't be still dominant. I don't see why he still can be effective. And it's going to be important, like Nick Sirianni said and Jonathan Gannon said, it's going to be important to rotate these guys. We don't know what the rotations are going to be because we were so used to Jim Schwartz's ability to rotate. But I got faith in Tracy Rocker. I got faith in Jonathan Gannon, rotating these guys out because Jonathan Gannon said it's going to be important to make sure we keep the horses fresh.
Yep. Yeah. This linebacker room, Eric Wilson, we stole.
Underrated. That's
that was
an
a
underrated pickup. I'm
steal.
telling you, that's an underrated
That was a
pickup. Underrated
steal.
pickup. Had a career year last year with the Vikings. Career year because he had to step up, and he stepped up big time. He playing for a contract.
Yeah. Now, do you see him starting? He kind of is, right? You see him
now,
starting?
right. So right now, as far as the depth chart from what I see, right now the depth chart is Jannard Avery, TJ Edwards, and Alex Singleton as far as starting linebackers. But I wouldn't be surprised if Eric Wilson beats out Jannard Avery or Alex Singleton. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, my thing is, it's wide open. It's wide open. Jannard Avery's trying to prove himself again from the linebacker spot because he was originally a linebacker, but when he came to Philly, we moved him from linebacker to D-end, and that wasn't really good for him. But he needs to earn his keep again at linebacker. TJ Edwards, in my opinion, still needs to earn his keep, even though he is probably our best run defending linebacker. But I think he needs to earn his keep as well. Alex Singleton, I think he needs to earn his keep as well. Had over 100 tackles last season. So he was our best linebacker by far. But still, you got guys like Sean Bradley, who's hungry, ready to earn some snaps. You got Davion Taylor, who's still very raw, but ready to earn some snaps. Eric Wilson, who's actually, in my opinion, our best coverage linebacker. Because he has an ability to stick with tight ends and get force interceptions like he did with the Vikings. And then you got guys like Jacoby Stevens, who's going to most likely play in that Joker role, who's going to be that pseudo linebacker safety who has that job just to confuse the quarterback and just go after him. So we're going to see, man. It's going to be very competitive, very competitive. It's hard for me to really tell who's going to be our starting three linebackers.
Yeah, I just love it. And it's just, can it come sooner? I know it's only June 3rd, but it feels like it's going to be an eternity.
Yeah. But, we said the same thing about the draft, and the draft came and went. And, we said the same thing about June 1st. That came and went. So, right now it's going to be really exciting, man. Like, I'm so excited for football, Mitch. Like, you have no idea, bro.
Oh, so do I.
Like this is going to be a really great year, man. A handful of the rookies already signed their contracts. Devontae Smith, 4 years, $20.1 million guaranteed, $12 million bonus, only a $3.6 million cap hit for 2021. Milton Williams signed his contract, 4 years, $5.1 million. Zach McPherson, 4 years, $4.2 million. Kenny Gainwell, 4 years, $3.8 million. So I'm glad we got those deals out of the way, man. I'm really excited for who now. Since they added more games, do you believe they're going to increase the roster count, like the amount of players you're allowed to have on the active roster?
Because I don't know if it's now? I always forget.
I don't know if it's been official yet. I think it's at 53.
It's at 53. I don't know, because with the preseason only being 2 games, you got to look at it like that as well. So I don't see them doing a roster spot or whatever, but who knows? It's just hard.
Yeah, man. I feel like they should increase the roster for the simple fact that at the end of the day, it's more regular season games. The intensity picks up. You know what I'm saying? And last season was a bad season for injuries as well, just for the league in general. You want to increase that. You want to try to increase the just the engagement. I feel like at least increase it to, normally it's 53. At least increase it to 56, 57. I don't know, help us help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't hurt. It'll allow us to keep more players on the roster. But I'm super excited, man. Super excited. We even with the running back room. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I just want to say this real quick. Ever since I got back to doing YouTube, I think I came back like during the playoffs last year in the bubble. So when I came back and I started doing content again, especially football, talking about it all the time makes me more excited than I ever been.
Yeah.
And knowing that the Eagles are going to be good, decent rather, it's still making me excited. Like, I got to meet so many content creators like yourself, and I can name a bunch. So just talking about football makes me more excited every single day.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that, man. Like, it's like, it made me it made me pay attention more. You know what I'm saying? And like it made me pay attention to the details. Like, it's so much nuance in this, and I think it's important to, I'm learning also how to be unbiased when it comes to talking about my team as well. I'm like you said, I'm meeting so many dope individuals, so many dope content creators, so many dope supporters, subscribers. I don't even like calling people fans. I like calling them supporters, man. I feel like fan is such a trivial way of describing someone's support for you, man. I think calling these guys supporters, subscribers is the best way to put it, man, because they're loyal to us every single day. They come to us and check out the content, man. They donate to our channels, and it can't be understated, it can't be overlooked, can't be underappreciated. Like, I'm grateful for you for reaching out to me, so locking in. This has been a very, very dope live stream, my man. We definitely got to do it again. Oh yeah. We've been going for about an hour 46, almost 2 hours, man. This is amazing, bro. And I'm grateful for you for locking in and keeping me engaged this entire time, challenging my thought. Like this is what I live for, man. I really appreciate you, my guy. Really appreciate you.
Right back at you, man. Yeah, and don't worry, the round table is gonna be exciting. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get a couple more
let me know,
guys.
Man.
Yeah. The last one was successful, so I feel like doing more of it.
For sure, bro. Wait, anything else you want to talk about with these? Anything else you want to touch on with these Eagles or anything, or the Sixers? Anything you want to touch on before we get out of here?
Real quick, stockholders. I'm sorry.
Hey, stockholders. Hey, they invest in this. Hey, why not, right?
The Green Bay Packers.
Ooh.
I'm just saying they own stake in the team.
That's true. Wouldn't that be interesting if like everybody was able to buy into the Eagles? Like,
I would not do that.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh my god. So, dang! I just had it. I don't know. Actually, yeah. Who's your surprise cut for the Eagles? Like, mine is Greg Ward. Guys in the chat, who's your surprise cut? I'm going to know because cuts are coming. Moves are coming.
My surprise cut.
I still can't freaking open this.
All right, so my surprise cut is going to be Jordan Howard.
Ooh, okay.
Because think about it. Miles Sanders is obviously the number one. Then you got Kerryon Johnson. Then you got Kenneth Gainwell, who in my opinion is going to make the roster. That's 3 running backs right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you got to think about Boston Scott, Jason Huntley, Adrian Killens, Elijah Holyfield. Is Jordan Howard healthy? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, can he stay healthy? That's my surprise cut, Jordan Howard. Don't be surprised.
Actually, I just made a video yesterday that Boston Scott should be cut because just like how you mentioned here, like we got Miles Sanders, we got Kerryon Johnson, who just got a restructured contract. So I don't think he's going to be cut. Kenny Gainwell just got re-signed, or not re-signed, signed. Jordan Howard, he's the best blocking running back we've got. He's the best blocking running back we've got. He's good.
Kerryon Johnson, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like, it's amazing like how packed our team is. Even our quarterbacks, we got Joe Flacco and then Jamie Newman.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Joe Flacco fan, but like it's better than having somebody that you don't know back there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. That's a fact. He's serviceable. But that's a good question actually. Next, Philly Phil has brought up a good question. Do you want Rager to return a punch this year? I would say no.
I agree.
Because he's a starting wide receiver, and you want him to focus strictly on that, and you don't want to put his body in any unnecessary under any unnecessary damage or trauma. Now, this is who I will put back there, though. I would put either Adrian Killens or Quez Watkins back there.
Oh,
those guys might be the 2 fastest guys on the roster.
Yeah, and I actually made a video about Jalen Reagor a couple days ago, and I was like, don't sleep on Reagor. Don't. Because last year he got injured and people were calling him a bust. And I was on By Sheer's channel, I think it was last week or something, and I was like, dude, oh my God, that By Sheer. Damn, what I mean, people are calling him a bust. And I said, Whiteside is not a bust yet. My definition of a bust is 3 years in Whiteside numbers. He's only played 1 year, Rager. Not even a whole year. So how can you call this guy a bust when he's not even played? How many games did he play again? Like 10? 10, 11?
I have no idea. Like 90, like around that, like 10, 11. But it wasn't even. And then on top of that, they weren't really trying to. They didn't put him in good positions to me. The play calling was suspect at best. There was no creativity. We stopped running the ball, which opens up the passing game. Like we just weren't a good team. We weren't coached well from top to bottom. The guys weren't having fun, like you said. It was just a bevy of issues going on. Where nobody was able to really get off. Nobody was able to really get the best performance on offense we got all season was Travis Fulgham, and that was a 5-game stretch. And then you saw Doug Peterson sit him for Alshon Jeffrey, and then you expect Travis Fulgham to just come in when you want him to and just make things happen. Now it's important to stay ready, so you ain't got to get ready. But my thing is, like, mentally he was disengaged because you sat him for a guy that was doing nothing for you all year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't. It just didn't make sense to me, man. But Philly brought up another interesting point. He said some fans think Flacco will start over Hurts based on him making more money, which I disagree with, which is BS. What are you guys' thoughts on that? That's BS to me. No offense, Philly Hills, but money don't make the man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that means nothing. The only reason he's getting that money is because it's a 1-year deal. So the money is getting crammed into 1 year. You know what I'm saying? Whereas though if it was a multiple-year deal, it would get dispersed. But I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Jalen Hurts has been taking the snaps with the first. I believe Jalen Hurts has been taking the first team snaps anyway. But my thing is Jalen Hurts is the guy. He's the guy. All the moves this offseason, all the moves in this draft dictates that he's the guy, in my opinion. What do you think, Mitch?
He is the guy. He is. That's all I got to say. You took the words right out of my mouth.
He's the guy. And yep, that's a good point. It was a shame having a DJ. It was a dirty hit, but it's nonetheless. And it's a good point Richie brought up. If Flacco starts, the Eagles morale fans and among the team will be down big time. This team is falling in love with Hurts. It is what it is. Now Hurts still has to prove it, but this team is falling in love with him. They falling in love with him. There's no way you start Joe Flacco over Jalen Hurts. There's no way. There's no freaking way. You know what I'm saying? There's no way. But my man, you and I have been going for almost 2 hours. I've been so grateful to you, my guy. Look, Mitch, super grateful to you for coming onto my live stream. I need you guys to go subscribe to my man, Mitch Kofsky. The links are available down below in the description. Hey, Mitch, is there anything you want to plug in before we get out of here, man? Anything that you want us coming up?
Okay. So this Saturday, my podcast Sports Chat, I'm going to try to get – I think I got Vince Papali's son in this. I think it's secure. So Saturday night, I will have that. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on Easy Eagles Talk channel at 7 o'clock. I'm going to be on Eagles Uncensored at 2 o'clock tomorrow. And then I think that's pretty much it. In Sixers watch longs, I'm going to watch the games with you guys Sunday. Like, that's my main thing I love about this, watching the games with you guys. Because it's just, it's fun. Like, I love watching the games. Why not watch it with you guys? Like, and if you want, me and you can watch the game together if you want. Like, we can just go like this and both watch the game.
No, I feel you. I feel you on that. It's crazy. I normally I normally lock in on RB's channel and watch his live stream. I love the way RB does the games. I love Philly Mike when he does it on the Philly Talk podcast. I've done like hangouts I've done watching the games like a couple times before, like with the Eagles, things like that. It's definitely a marathon. But sometimes I'll admit I get a little too emotional sometimes. So
so do I.
So I'm still debating if I want to get into the whole watch party thing. I'll admit to you, I'm still debating if I want that to be my thing. But maybe later down, I'm not opposed to doing that at some point, but I definitely don't want to commit to it right now because Like I just want to become more disciplined in that regard. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Mitch, like, you know, I love what you're doing, my guy. Keep grinding, bro. You and I are in that 1K club, you know, where we're on our way to 2K. You know, super grateful to you, man. As always, we definitely got to do it again. Looking forward to the Eagles roundtable that you invited me to. Can't wait for that. Make sure you reach out. You know, I can't wait. You guys, I appreciate you for locking in. We got 15 people in the live stream. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe for more content from your boy Tone DeShields II, especially if you're new. I'll be so grateful for new subscribers, so grateful for new supporters, new stockholders, just new people for locking in, man. So grateful to you guys. You know, as I always said, you guys have been tuned in to your man Tone DeShields II, and you guys have been locked in on your dose to chalk it up. Where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Make sure you guys subscribe to my man Mitch Kofsky. My man does his thing on a high level, lock in on the guy. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry. Let's go Sixers and fly, Eagles fly.
He said.